of the things that I've learned from hosting this podcast is that most successful people that I interview, they're not just building a business. What they're doing is they're actually building relationships. And today's guest really understands that better than many people that I know. So Dan Stewart is my guest, and he is the founder of the company called Happy Grasshopper. And he also has a new book that's called The Connection Question. Can't wait to learn more about his book. He's going to help us talk us through how to stay focused on things that are important today because, we live in a world right now that's just full of AI and automation, and everything seems to be so transactional. So I really want to get into that because automation is like, well, it's important, but it doesn't build those relationships so well. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So Dan works with sales professionals across many different markets and many different cultures. And he's, like I said, he's the founder of Happy Grasshopper. That's how I met Dan initially because I subscribe to Happy Grasshopper. So we're going to go through what that's all about, and we'll just see where the conversation goes, Dan. And I know that you help people you talk to them about how to communicate clearly and with confidence. So let's just jump right in. Dan, I'm
Yeah,
so
let's
happy to
dive
see
in.
you again.
Well, likewise, Zelda. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here, first of all. There's a few things that I think I want every listener to know right from the start. First of all, if you're listening to Zelda, we're probably already aligned. Like, I have three core beliefs that drive everything I do. The first one is that relationships are everything, period. And, no matter what career path you've chosen, it's strengthened by all the relationships you build along the way. And I certainly believe, as my second core belief, that relationships really only live in one place, and that's inside conversation, right? So if we're not having the conversations with the people we care about, what happens to our relationships? They drift, they fade away. And if you're listening to this and you're in the practice of real estate, you know what it feels like to drive through your own neighborhood and see some other agent sign in front of one of your neighbor's homes. It's like a heartbreaking moment. And that is what that's really evidence of is someone didn't nurture the relationship in the way they could have. And so they didn't get to see the third core belief pop into view, which is that conversation leads to closings. Like that's the thing that all of your technology that you have in your business, all of your marketing, all of your advertising has to produce for it to actually turn into value. And, Zelda, I'm going on here a bit. I
No,
can't
keep going.
resist because
Soaking it all in. I'm soaking it
like
all in.
I'm so passionate about this particular moment in time. It's why I wrote the book, because we're all faced with an epochal change that most of us don't understand yet.
Right.
Now, I'm old enough to remember being taught to write with something in my fingers, right? And then I got to learn to type on keyboards. And you think about the progression of technology just in the lifetimes of most of us who are alive today, it's stunning. Okay, so people who are alive, like I was born in 1970, I'm 55 years old as we record this. There has never been a generation of human beings who's seen more change than ours. There never has been, right? We saw the birth of personal computing. We saw the birth of the internet. We saw the birth of social media. And in a lot of ways, today is 1990 in relation to AI as 1990 was to the internet. Like we
Yes.
kind of know it's there, but we don't really understand yet how it's going to totally revolutionize all aspects of our lives. That's why I wrote the connection question, because if we don't put our foot down now and make a determination that we've got to do what only human beings can do at a much higher level, we deserve to be displaced by AI,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So hear that, salespeople. We have got to be better people. We've got to be better for our fellow human beings. We've got to get really, truly expert level at doing the things that AI can never do, like hold someone's hand as a transaction's falling apart at the last minute,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Like sweep together all the broken emotions of a stressful real estate deal and make sense of it. Providing that sense of certainty and calm is something only a human being can do. And so I'm just going to encourage everybody to really embrace this moment in time to to instead of work on your next like killer closing script, get better at asking questions that help people really feel connected to you.
Yes. I
That's what we need to focus on.
I absolutely agree. It's those real conversations. And I think sometimes people want, we're so used to instant gratification, like push the button, Amazon's going to send you the stuff today. And relationships, they don't work that way. You have to nurture them and they have to grow and people have to learn to trust you. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, the trust.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take this from the perspective of human needs psychology,
Okay.
right? Because, no matter where you're born, what language you speak, which culture you were raised in, we all have six human needs that really drive the choices that we make. And one of the most dominant ones is the need for certainty. We require an understanding of the way things work. If you flick the switch on the wall and the lights don't come on, that's a violation of certainty. That stressful moment is because something you expected to happen didn't happen, right? It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
Now,
last night.
balancing that, we also need variety, right? Because like life can be boring when we're certain about every single facet of it, right? So if you've chosen a sales career, you like variety. Like you love the kind of variable texture of what your day, your week, your month, your quarter, your year can look like. But you also need absolute certainty that you're going to succeed and thrive over time. So we have to balance those things, right? So let's circle this back to that direct question you're asking, right? How do we provide certainty in an uncertain world? How can automation help with that? Well, how do we build trust in the real world? We do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. That's how people can decide that they trust us, right?
Mhm.
If I were, let's say I were building a nurture campaign for internet leads that land on your website, right? Somebody registers on your site. Well, the campaigns that are going to work most effectively aren't just going to automate messaging. It's going to automate messaging that builds trust over time by setting expectations that get fulfilled by future messages, right? So you come to, I'll just give you a fictitious example. Zelda is searching for a home in Tampa, where I live. She finds danstamparealty.com. She registers there as a lead. Well, she's going to get the sort of, autoresponder from the website automatically. She's going to know that's not a real person.
Right.
Well, what if she gets a text from my actual phone number and it says, "Hi, Zelda. It's Dan Stewart at Dan's Tampa Realty. Thanks for finding my website. I'm just about to walk into a meeting and can call in around 20 minutes. In the meantime, what's most important for me to know about your home search? Thanks."
Oh,
Right?
that goes so
So,
much further than yeah.
yeah, so much better than just an autoresponder. I mean, I did several things in that message. One, it's coming from my actual number, so when you reply, I actually get it. That's part of the technology we provide at Happy Grasshopper. But, it's not enough just to deliver a message. You have to deliver the right message to the right people at the right time. And in this example, we don't know each other yet. There's no relationship there. You want a house in Tampa. You don't necessarily want Dan to be the guy who helps you with that, right? And I don't know, maybe you're ready to look at homes this weekend, or maybe you're 18 months away from even wanting to talk to me. Most internet leads are not today leads. They're distant tomorrow leads.
That's correct.
So, all I'm doing there is I set an expectation. I said that I'd be calling in about 20 minutes, and I asked you a question that you may answer in the interim. That'll be great. I'll see that on my phone. Well, maybe you don't reply because you're that distant lead, right?
Or
So
it
20
could be,
minutes.
one of the things that I've noticed with people that I'm nurturing is their communication style, and that's important is to determine what their communication style is. I have one person who, if you're not texting this person, she's not responding to you. That's just
Right.
her
Yep.
mentality is text me, don't call me. but going back again to what you said, I actually was online. I don't know what it was. Somebody was selling something, and I went through the process. Sometimes I'll go down the rabbit hole just so far, you know?
Mhm.
And I went down the rabbit hole, and what I got was a text which basically said, "Here's where you can check us out." It was automated,
Yeah.
and I responded by saying, "No, I need to cut to the chase and tell me what you're selling," basically. And to my surprise, the text came back, "Zelda, this is really so and so, and here's what I'm doing." And
Yeah.
so there you go. No, but the first one really wasn't automation. But when I responded to the automation, she obviously saw it and
Yes.
responded in kind with, a
Okay.
real person.
I wanna, like, reach through the screen and hug you so badly right now because you have just put your finger on the most critical slippery slope that people are screwing up today, right? We should never allow an AI to have a conversation that an agent should be having, right? Because what we're doing is we're saying, "You don't really need my advice, just talk to the bot. I only wanna show up for the commission part.
And this
Let
is
me
across
show up
this
there."
is for any industry. So
Oh,
our
of
listeners
course.
know it's like this isn't just in me in real estate because this
Yep.
wasn't a real estate person I was talking to. So this is I hope people are getting this. It's like be a human here. We need some human
100%.
humans.
100%. 100%. This is so yeah, hear me, people, right? I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started 8 companies in my career. I've had 3 exits. I'm 100% operating from a labor of love perspective.
Yes.
If you're in an industry that values relationships, and you should be if you sell anything to anyone,
Yeah.
relationships are the key most important thing. And you cannot let an AI get between you and that relationship. You have to build it. So, whatever systems you're using, the moment you get that real response is the moment you should be engaging with that person,
So
right?
while you're engaged with people, you're having the conversations, you're building the relationships, what happens actually inside those conversations that makes someone say, I trust this person?
Yeah. Oh, this is great, Zelda. There's a few things here we need to just kind of set some context around. Okay. It's 2026 as we record this. Most people can smell a sales question 10 miles away, right? And, if you're asking, I was on a call yesterday with a young sales rep trying to sell me a product, and the closing questions he was trying to seed the conversation with, how he was pre-framing everything. And tell me about where you think this would make an impact in your business. If you were to implement this solution, what value do you think that would provide? And it's like, oh my God, dude, I see exactly what you're doing, right? Everybody
We
does.
all get
And
those.
right. And we need to go somewhere different. So the reason I wrote the book, The Connection Question, is because we have to really adopt a framework to do this well.
So tell us a
Think
little
of it
bit more about this book.
Yeah, definitely will. Let me explain in this scenario here.
Okay.
If you think about the black and white difference between that manipulative, tie down, scarcity sales talk of yesteryear, it's time to abandon that forever, right? Because in the world of AI, people already have access to all the data they need to make a decision, right? If they're going to choose you to be the person to guide them through what they're purchasing, they're going to choose you because of your ability to provide needed expertise. And the best way you can deliver that consistently is through making sure they know that you understand what they really want. That's the heart, the whole kit and caboodle right there is you will stand head and shoulders above your competition. You will thrive in the age of AI if every single time you meet with a prospect, you ask questions that reveal what it is that they actually want.
I'm
And
going to
then you
add
help them
something
get
to
it
that.
more
I'm going to add
efficiently.
something to that.
Okay.
I think that if you understand the DISC personality test, it can help you immensely so that you know how to, not to be salesy or anything, but you know how to address people. A C personality is whole lot of different than an A personality.
Yeah. There's so much truth there. And, whether it's Myers-Briggs or DISC or
Yes.
like I'm a fan of 16personalities.com. There's a lot you can learn and a lot of choices you can make, and that gets pretty complex, right? Like I had a client years ago who was a disc expert, and he used to like to give a little mini disc assessment when he was speaking with prospects. And then he would want disc appropriate follow-up content to go based on whether they were high D or high C or whatever it may be. And the place that fell apart was him getting in the system and pulling the right lever to have the right campaign go. So I love complication. I really dig it, truly. I'm a data geek. I study everything. And I also understand the need for simplicity, right? So I'm gonna frame this for everybody listening because you can access this and do it today, right? It's not rocket science. What we're driving towards in every sales environment needs to be one thing, and that's understanding what it is that these people already want. Like truly understanding that is different than just filling a need of, bedrooms or baths or square footage or, widgets, right? It could be any product or service. So the way to get to this is to ask what I call the connection question. So, if you're listening, write this down. Remember this. The question is, what's most important to you about blank? What's most important to you about blank? And what goes in the blank is contextual based on the conversation you're having with them. So, we'll go back to that. Zelda's moving to Tampa. She found my real estate website. Now we're meeting, right? I've already asked her a version of the question, right? In that very first text message, I said, what's most important for me to know about your home search, right? That's causing her brain to think internally, geez, what is most important for him to know? And she might go to a place where she's telling me about timing. Well, I'm in Jacksonville now, and I won't be down that way until, some date in the future. Here's the kind of home I might be looking for or interested in. I'm already aligning my communication with helping you get what you really want by asking that question, right? Now we're face to face for the first time. We're having our buyer's consult. Maybe it's at our office, maybe it's at a coffee shop, it could be anywhere. That's where I'm going to say things like, Zelda, I'm so happy that we're able to get together like this. I really appreciate the chance to get to know you and serve your needs. Would it be okay if I asked a few questions? You're going to say, yes, of course. And I'm going to say, I would love to know, what's really most important to you about the neighborhood you choose to live in? I'm going to start there, right? And based on the sorts of things you answer that question with, I'm going to understand which of the 5 buyer personas you fall into. And that's going to let me change everything else that I talk about to fit and be in perfect alignment with what you already want, right? It's the most magical thing ever because it helps people feel so sincerely understood. The people I've worked with, the classes I've taught on this, the people who've implemented this are seeing just amazing impact. It's really improving the way that they're doing business. So,
Absolutely.
do we have time for me to run through and teach your audience those
Oh,
personas?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have time.
And I'm sorry, I'm like, I mean,
No,
I'm so passionate about this. I just can't
that's
contain
what I want.
myself.
I've got a gazillion questions that racing through my head, but absolutely tell us this. Yes, I want to know.
Okay. All
I
right.
learn so
So,
much from my guests. It's amazing. I implement things all the time, and then I'll write you back and say, I just did this. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome.
yeah. Well, so I'm gonna rely on some credentials here for a moment. I mentioned being geeky. I am geeky. I love to learn. I love to read. At my primary company, Happy Grasshopper, we're currently nurturing 42 million relationships for our members. And that gives us a huge data set to play in, right?
I love Happy
So,
Grasshopper.
well, thank you.
I love.
Thank you. Thank you. So, data is so important today because if you have good data, you can make good decisions, right? There's no need to guess. No one needs to invent how to be successful. You just have to do the right things in the right order and, don't be shocked. You're going to get the right result. So, for me, the first right thing is understanding how people think about things when they're buying. And I thought, well, where can I learn about that? And it turns out at Stanford University, there's something called the Stanford Research Institute. And they have taken the Values and Lifestyle Survey, which was first conducted by the US government way back in 1968 and has been updated every year throughout this whole, 50 plus year time span. And they have broken down exactly why people think what they think and why they want what they want. And so I'm going to simplify this for you. I don't want everyone to try to have to learn the whole Val study and all the science and the research behind this. I want to put it in terms that make it accessible. And so the first group, this is the largest group. You're going to run into these people more frequently than any other group. They are called the joiner. So the joiner represents about 40% of the US population. And just as the name implies, they like to join things, right? These are
I
the
know people
people.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, we wear the team jersey on game day, right? We might have bumper stickers on our cars. We may be people of faith who participate in, worship services and are involved in congregations. These people, joiners, really value being connected to other people. And they make buying decisions based on choices that will allow them to experience that, right? So back to my buyer's consult with Zelda. What if I asked you that question? What's most important to you about the neighborhood you live in next? And you say things like, well, gosh, I would love it if there were, we've got some family with young kids. If they're young kids, so when they're visiting, they could make friends in the neighborhood. That would be great. We'd love if there's a community space, like we're starting to play pickleball. That might be fun. Like those are all indicators that someone values being connected to their community,
Right.
right? So I go, oh, okay, they're a joiner. Well, what does that mean from a sales perspective? Joiners resist change, right? They don't like change. Change is very stressful to joiners. So if I know for sure that my prospect is a joiner, I'm going to use language that reinforces how their buying decision helps things stay the same, right? So I'll break that down. Zelda, you're my joiner. We're in a car. We're now going out to look at houses. And as we're going through the neighborhood, as we're driving through the town, I'm going to point out permanence. I'm going to say, look at this. As we pull into this neighborhood, I want you to notice, do you see these oak trees? I would guess some of these are hundreds of years old. They're huge. Isn't it great that the developer didn't just mow all that down when they were building these houses here, right? I'm tying back to the permanence, the history of the area, the sense that my joiner client can really put down roots here, right? That's what I'm highlighting for them. Maybe personally, I'm really excited about all the new things in the area. Like maybe I think it's great that, oh, by the way, did you hear Amazon is building all these new data centers in the area? It's really driving up the value of everybody's property. We're going to see so many people move to the area in the next few years. So much excitement, all the development that's going to happen here. That is going to freak out a joiner, right? That is not the language that they're going to want to hear from us. So we have to help them see how their home choice is going to be in alignment with what they already really want, which is to be more deeply connected to the community they serve. Okay.
How does that work when it's not a real estate deal? I'm thinking if someone is selling insurance or candles or something like that, how
Yeah.
does that play into what they're selling?
Yeah. Insurance is a great example. Yeah. I've had my insurance agent for over 20 years.
Right.
Tom Hendry Nationwide. He's amazing. Love Tom. Tom is the kind of guy who very much is a joiner. He has deep roots in his community and he extends that circle like to everybody he works with. He kind of welcomes into his world. And I value that, right? That means something to me, but it might not mean something to the different buyer personas, right?
Do some
So,
people have, like, I don't know what the other personas are other than the joiner, because that's the one you talked about, but do some of them overlap?
well, most buying decisions, particularly in real estate, are not made by an individual. And I might buy a house according to one dominant buyer persona, but I might buy a car a little bit differently, right? So, yeah, what you're selling does definitely make a difference, but the psychology is the same, right? It's the positioning that you're able to use when you understand this that's really the variable, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to more quickly run through these other groups. There are 5 of them. Joiner is the first one.
Okay.
Second one is called the faker, right? And we all know that phrase, fake it till you
Take it
make
till you
it.
make it.
I hate that phrase. I'm just going to put it out there. If you are busy faking it, I have an idea. Ask for help instead.
Yay.
Let's get you the help you
Don't
need,
fake
right?
it.
Right? So faker is the second group. The next group after that is what the faker wants to become. That's the royal, right? The royal is the next group. These are our high net worth individuals. Then we have the greens, which is a growing segment of the population. And finally, we have the combo pack, which is like, a couple's buying a home. She might be a joiner, he might be a royal. He might be a faker, she might be a green. So you want to understand who the dominant person is in making the
Yes.
buying decision and then, use the language most appropriately there, right?
That's brilliant. Yes. And you do have to realize who's really the decision maker on those things. It's not necessarily the one who contacted you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know how it goes in my house. Happy wife, happy life, right? All I care about is I've got my family here. I do, sticks and bricks, whatever. I'm good. She's
That's
happy,
right.
I'm happy. Yep.
Happy wife, happy life. Oh, that's so
Yep.
funny. So
For sure.
those are the 5 that are in the book, The Connection Question.
That's right. And
Okay.
and I do want to explain something about the book here that's important. I did not write a textbook. I wrote a really fun, easy to read story
Yay.
where you join Alex, a professional realtor, on her journey to acquire these skills. You learn how she's applying it in the real world, in real time. And as she's learning and becoming proficient, you can do that right alongside her.
Oh, I love those kinds of
So
books.
yeah,
The fictitious
I'll tell you,
person, you're following them. Yeah.
my inspiration for it is a book called Raving Fans. Have you
Oh, I
read
love
that
that
book?
book. Yes, I
Yeah,
love that
yeah.
book.
My first big boy job out of college, I had an area manager hand me that book, and I read it in one night, and I was like, okay, I get it. And that book, honestly, has been a foundational element at each of the 8 companies I've started. I
Wow.
have 30 copies of it on the bookshelf behind me here. I give it to every new employee.
Yes.
It's just a great book, and so it was my inspiration for writing the connection question.
Oh, it's a brilliant book. I have so many books similar to The Raving Fans that are some of my favorites. I just love them. So let me ask you, I know that you're first, I'm going to take you back a few. We're going to change the subject
Mhm.
here for a minute. I know that you wanted to be a writer,
I did, yes.
and funny how things shift.
Well, I always have loved to read, and from, my early childhood, I can remember thinking it would be really great to write a book and be a writer. Something about that was always very appealing to me. And after I graduated from college, I did the whole wait tables, bartend thing while trying to be a writer. And I spent a solid 2.5 years churning out stuff that was just the cringiest, most garbage stuff you can imagine because I hadn't really lived yet. What was I going to write
What do
about?
you know when
Um,
you're out of college? We know
I,
that
d-
thing.
I just like, I had the desire, but I didn't have the lived experience to really offer anything. And today, like that book flowed out of me. I couldn't contain it. It wasn't a struggle to write it at all because I've lived so much. I've struggled so much. And, part of this phase of life that feels like a gift every day is just paving the way and making it a little easier for younger entrepreneurs.
I totally get
So,
that. I remembered when many years ago when I first got into the speaking profession, one of the things there were people that were doing some consulting. They weren't really coaches back then, but they were consulting, and they were a little bit of coaching was coming into play. And I thought these people are very young. What are they going to teach me? I mean, but some of them are still speakers to this day, and they're quite successful. But I just remember thinking, what experiences do they have that they can coach me? I remembered that very distinctly. And I'm
yeah.
wondering, Dan, what was it that how did you come to create Happy Grasshopper? And let's tell our listeners what exactly Happy Grasshopper is.
Yeah. Okay. So, Happy Grasshopper is a communication layer that rides alongside your CRM, right? So, everybody has some sort of CRM today. And whichever system that is, it probably came with industry focused content. If you're in real estate, there's dozens of real estate CRMs that have content in them that kind of make you cringe, right? Most industries have that sort of thing. So, what Happy Grasshopper does is really different. We take the time to actually get to know our members and we create content that's authentic to who they are, that's in alignment with their specific goals. And then we deliver that content across email, text message, ringless voicemail drop, social media post, handwritten cards, and even gift. So we can do complete life cycle communications, or we can just focus on whatever segment's really important to an individual right now. And, in the age of the LLM, like I'll give you the context. Happy Grasshopper's 15 years old. And I started Happy Grasshopper after having exited a different company. So I did the whole, punch out at 40 thing. I thought, yeah, I met all my goals. Life is awesome. I didn't even make it 6 months. I mean, I'm
Like
not
you were
who
going to
can rest.
retire?
I bought a sailboat. I played a lot of golf. I felt like the first month was pretty awesome. The second month was really good. Third month was okay. And like, how ridiculous is this, right? This sounds so ridiculous to say, right? It's a wonderful moment. I'm so blessed to have, but the perspective is everything. So I was sitting on my sailboat alone on a Tuesday, perfect weather. All my friends were at work. My kids are in school. My wife is sick of going on a sailboat, right? And like, I just thought, what am I doing here? What about this is better than building your businesses? Like, what the heck have you done, Dan? You got to get back to work. So I spent the next couple of months thinking about what that might be. And Happy Grasshopper has been that thing now for 15 years. So I am so passionate about what we do because, like, I've told you the sticks and bricks of the business. What we really do is we start the conversations that bring the world closer together.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Now,
the
is
mission I'm on.
is do they still do, and I don't know, I apologize for not knowing, I wanna ask, when I joined Happy Grasshopper, they would send out you would select one of the different messages that you wanted to send to people? Is that
Mhm.
still, and they were very engaging, and they weren't, I want you to know from our listeners, they weren't all real estate. You could pick a message that had to deal with real estate, but oftentimes the ones that I got the most responses from, so that you're engaging with people, were
Yeah.
not about real estate. They were just interesting things.
Well, I'll tell you the most important elements here to keep in mind. Just because you have a database of people doesn't mean they all need the same message.
Correct.
So, the challenge, the first thing that has to be done right is organization. If you can't have an organized database, you can't, like, don't bother trying to have great content because the best message in the world delivered to the wrong people isn't going to work. It just
Yeah,
won't,
that's, yeah, it's gonna fall
right?
flat. Yeah,
So at Happy Grasshopper, one of the things we do for our members is pull their contacts in from all the places they're hiding. So, in real estate, it's your phone, your email, your MLS, your CRM, your lead sources, all your social media accounts. You may have a bunch of spreadsheets hanging around. We need to pull all those together into one place, get them deduplicated, right? We've got to merge them,
yeah.
title case correct them so we're not like all capsing people. And then most importantly, we've got to organize them by relationship. So, let's imagine I'm doing this with you now, Zelda. You might have Dan in your phone, just Dan and a phone number. Happy Grasshopper wouldn't understand anything about that relationship. So now we export from your email, and you've got 48 people in there named Dan. Well, one of them has the same phone number, right? So now we go, that's Dan Stewart, Dan at happygrasshopper.com. Got a little more information. Is Dan a lead, a past client? Is he in your sphere? Is he like, what's the relationship? We don't know yet. So we export from your CRM and maybe we go, Dan was an open house visitor 5 years ago. Well, is he still a lead? We don't know. CRM doesn't have any data about that. But when we export from the MLS, we go, wait a minute. It's not just Dan. It's also his wife, Kenley, and you sold them a home at this address on that date at this price point, right? So now we know for sure Dan is your past client. Dan has you saved in his phone. You can safely text him. You can safely send a ringless voicemail drop, and it would just say, missed call from Zelda Greenberg, right? So organization is always first. And I'll share a resource for everybody. If you go to connectionboss.ai, that's a way you can have us do that service for you without deploying Happy Grasshopper. You can just get your database cleaned up there.
Wow.
So
Say that again.
Connection
It's
Boss,
called
it's connectionboss.ai.
That's
So
awesome.
your contacts are everywhere. We're just going
You
to
know
pull them
they
into one
are.
spot
You
for
know
you.
they
Yep.
they're everywhere. It's like, a database for this, a database for that. It's like, oh yeah, yeah.
They get spread out for sure.
So tell me, what is something that you believe about building relationships in businesses that most people might overlook?
So context is so important. Think of the real estate newsletter here. I'll use that as an example, right? So the idea is, ooh, I need to send content that's relevant. And people go, well, I'm in real estate, so I'll send real estate content. Well, guess what? An agent cares about that all the time, but a person only cares about it when they care about it,
Yes.
right? So we have to have context of the relationship and send messaging according to that. So
That's
I'll give you,
important.
can I give you an example here?
Yeah.
So we'll do the classic newsletter example. Hi, Zelda. It's Dan Stewart. Here's everything happening in Tampa real estate. This is up, that's down, other things sideways. Here's a bunch of local events. Hope to see you soon. And oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals, right? So let's
I've
imagine
seen a
that
few of
that's what you're
those.
getting from me. Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody sends that kind of stuff. So what that's doing that's harmful is two things. Number one, it's informing someone rather than engaging them. So if I get that and I'm interested in real estate, well, now I don't need to talk to you about real estate because I have the information,
Yeah.
right? That's a bad thing. And what if I'm not interested in real estate and you're sending me that? Well, it's so easy to unsubscribe.
Mhm.
Or today there's something called a silent unsubscribe. That's where you just ignore it in your inbox. And the algorithm in your inbox learns not to show you that message in the future, right? So none of us can afford to send messaging today that's not engaging, right? So what do we do instead? Hey, Zelda, it's Dan. Do you have 2 minutes today? I just read something about Tampa real estate you need to know. It's going to change a lot of things for all of us. Well, what is that thing? I'm not saying, right? I raised your curiosity and I left it unresolved. That's the formula for creating a conversation. So again, 3 core beliefs: relationships are everything. They live inside conversation. Conversation leads to closings. That mechanism where we've just created engagement is an opportunity for you to then move forward with someone.
That's so
So I want to model this just a little bit more. This has to land for everybody. This is so important, right? Maybe I got that message from Zelda and I'm not interested in real estate right now, but I'm curious. She sent me something. So I know her. I'm going to maybe call her, right? I might text her back. I might respond if it's an email. Zelda needs to be prepared to have that conversation with me, right? So here's how that goes, right? And in this context, I'll be Dan, the agent. You're Zelda, the prospect who's reaching out to me about this, right? So the way that conversation needs to go, Zelda, I'm so glad you reached out. Wow, there's so much going on in real estate right now. And I don't know if any of this is super important for you today, but if you're connected to anyone who's thinking about real estate right now, it's going to matter for them. Do you know anybody who's thinking of buying or selling or investing right now? Oh, you do? Okay. Well, gosh, I'll tell you what's going on. And then I'd love it if you can introduce me to those people. Do you have their number? I could just reach out, make it easy, right? So in that context, I'm now reactivating our relationship, Zelda. We've had a good connection there. I stay present for you and top of mind for a good little bit. And I've generated an opportunity to go serve someone else without like asking for referrals. I'm just providing service. I'm reaching out with love. I want you to know what's going on. because it matters to you based on the context of our relationship. Okay. This is all part of a big overarching theme called loving on people.
Yeah.
I believe if we love on people, we don't have to chase our dollars and cents too much.
And it's so much easier.
It really
It
is.
makes you come natural,
Yeah.
selling, picking up the phone and calling people, dialing for people is just that's just not the way to do it. So this
There's
has been a great conversation, Dan. I know that I value everybody's time, so I want to conclude with a couple of things. One is if somebody wants to reach out to you, I know you're a keynote speaker, where they want to learn more about where to get the book, whatever it is, tell us how they can connect with you, where they can get the book.
Well, gosh, there are plenty of ways to find me. danstewart.com is a pretty good hub to connect to all things I'm connected to. And I would like to offer your audience something kind of special, Zelda. If you've enjoyed anything I've had to say here, you probably feel like you got fire hosed a bit. There's a lot here. I have excellent notes prepared for you. If you send any email to yes@happygrasshopper.com, add a subject line, don't add a subject line, write something in the body, don't. If you just send anything to yes@happygrasshopper.com, my system is going to respond with links to a couple of docs you'll find useful. One of them is my Lovin' on People doc, which breaks down a lot of the strategies you can deploy. It's got examples of messaging that actually work that you can just, rip off and duplicate in your own business today. So that's my gift. That's my way of loving on all you people. So, grab that doc. It'll be useful for you.
I wrote it down. Yes, at happygrasshopper.com, and we'll put that in the show notes. So, Dan, I have one final question. It's my signature question. I ask every single guest. And so you're probably aware of it and you're probably ready for it. It is, oh, no. Okay, great. It's like sometimes people say, what's the signature question? And they want to know in advance. So I send it to everybody, whether they find it, if they know it, whatever. But here it is. It is, can you share a story of when an opportunity presented itself to you because of a connection that you had?
Oh my gosh. The timing of this question is absolutely perfect. Do you know the name Kokoska in real estate coaching?
No.
So Diana Kokoska was the president of MAPS coaching at Keller Williams for a
Yes.
long time. She's the author of the Bold program. And I helped Diana with some marketing projects at Keller Williams. She advocated for Happy Grasshopper across the organization. It was just a wonderful relationship. And through Diana, I met her son, Sean. Well, just 2 weeks ago, Sean reached out to me and he said, Dan, I was thinking about all the people I'm connected to that might be able to help me with a project I'm working on called 12 to 2. And he read me in on the whole project. And, everything magical happens in relationships, right?
Right.
Relationships live in
It's
conversation.
everything.
So, in conversation with Sean, we have co-created something that I am so proud of. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's called Built. And if you go to installbuilt.com, you can learn all about it. So what Install Built is, it's a way to implement a referral. It's a way to implement a referral business in your business. It's not the kind of training most people get where now they have to figure out how to do it, right? They're not just like leaving inspired. It's not a tech product where, okay, I subscribe to something, now I have to figure out how to use it.
Oh,
It's 6 weeks of group training where Sean and I, meet with each group 90 minutes per week for 6 weeks. And everybody leaves with a perfectly cleaned up database. Everybody leaves with exactly the right messaging strategy. And, one thing I'm really proud of is that of all the things you can invest in your business, relationships are the thing that always works. So,
absolutely.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what this podcast is all about. It's connections, it's success through connection. So Thank
Yeah.
you, Dan, so much for your time today. Uh,
You are so welcome.
and to our listeners, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button so that you never miss a single episode because we release a new episode every single Tuesday morning. So I don't want you to miss them. And do remember that success, it doesn't happen in isolation. It happens because of the connections that we have. So today, connections are the power move and it is your currency. So until next week, I'll see you next week on Success Through Connections.